Hey everyone, I'm Jess Wild.
And I'm Eva.
And you're watching the Lovehoney YouTube channel.
The place where we talk about sex.
And sex toys.
So that when you visit the Lovehoney website,
you know what the heck you're doing. Now, you may notice we've got a new face on screen with us today. This is Eva. Eva, tell us a bit about you and what you do and why you're here.
Yeah, so I also have a sex ed YouTube channel called What's My Body Doing, where I talk all about sexuality, sexual health, and relationships. I'm also a graduate student and I'm studying sexting, so that's part of why I'm here today to come talk about all that.
Yes, she's literally a pro. And as you've just said, you're studying sexting. Well, your thesis is on sexting, is that the right word?
Yeah.
You can tell I'm a student, so you're a pro when it comes to sexting. It's something I don't know a lot about. I text my friends, and when I'm in a relationship, I text them too. I'm sure everyone's had a go at sexting, but Eva's basically a pro in this area, so we've got her on today to talk a bit about it. I'm hoping I'm going to learn something.
Yeah.
You guys at home are going to learn some stuff too. So let's kick it off. So first of all, for those of you that don't know, what is sexting?
So sexting is sharing any type of sexually explicit media that you create yourself. So whether you're texting something hot or taking a picture either of yourself or something else that's sexy, or videos, there is some overlap with cybersex, but that's the gist.
Okay, so pictures, videos, all that good stuff counts. We're sending it over a text. And I suppose nowadays we include things like Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp. It kind of encompasses the whole thing. Okay. And I mean, that all sounds very well and good. I mean, particularly good for people in long distance relationships.
Yeah,
who
for
maybe
sure.
can't talk, or you can't always do sort of, I guess it replaces like, what do you call it? Like
phone sex?
Yeah, phone sex. I told you she's an expert.
Well, some people include phone sex in the category of sexting too.
Tell me more about this. So you can be on the phone or sending pictures, I suppose, like whilst you're talking on the phone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there must be a load of benefits, like I said, long distance relationships, but what else have you discovered on your studies? Sort of, why is sexting good?
Yeah, so there's actually a really cool study that found 4 types of sexters. So there's the non-sexters, they made that one category. There's another category of people who mostly just text, so don't include videos or photos. And then people who do video and photos too.
Yep.
And these 2 groups text about the same amount.
Okay,
which is about a couple times a week.
Awesome.
And then there's hypersexters that will text daily or a couple times a day.
Okay, and they just don't send normal texts anymore. Like they're just like,
they're all over the
place.
We're
over. Oh, hey, how's it going? No, let me stick it in your.
Yeah. If we can make it sexy, why not?
Yeah, exactly. What do we see any result in people's relationships? Like, are some of them closer? I don't know. What do we know about these people?
Yeah, for sure. So actually, all of the people that sext at all have been found to be more sexually satisfied.
This is cool. I like this.
So if you're not driving with the eating and breathing and sleeping sexting, or you just want to do text, even a little bit of that can maybe be beneficial for your sex life.
Okay. I mean, I guess it must be a good, it's like a gateway into having a conversation. Like, are we finding that people who can sext or text about sex are more able to talk with their partners in person?
So that's exactly what my thesis is on, so
Amazing.
Get back to me in a year to see. But there has been some results about texting about stuff like sexual health, less in a sexy way. People feel more comfortable taking that into the real world, so maybe also sexting.
You know, I think a lot of people are afraid that technology is going to sort of replace the way that we talk to each other, but it just goes to show that in the right situation and with the right balance, actually, it could make it easy. You know, after a few months, you think, oh, I want to try this thing in the bedroom, and I can say it to your face rather than relying on texting. So it seems like it gently opens the door.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's also like these stereotypes that people who sext are kind of more sexting casually, and that's totally awesome, but the research actually shows that most people sext in romantic relationships.
So it's like with their exclusive partner that they're doing it. That's really cool. When it comes to sexting, I think a lot of people ask us questions about, you know, is there protocol? Are there rules? You know, do you start with a dick pic and go from there? I'm I'm pretty sure all of us know the answer to that, but well, I'd say that, but the amount of random dick pics I get suggests that you don't know that out there, people. How do you kick off sexting? What would be your best tip for people?
Yeah, so I think kind of like with in-person sexual interactions, it's always good to lay a groundwork of communication, talking about, do you like to receive sex when during the day, when you're out and about, when you're at work, or do you just want to like get home, pour yourself a glass of wine and get all cozy and then sext?
Yeah, 'cause I mean, for some people, like if you get a sext while you're at work, you think, oh, that makes my day a lot better. But for other people, they're like, I am at work right now. I do not have time for this. Okay, so we know when it's acceptable. We've worked this out with our partners. So we're going to broach that first text. Have you got any tips for sort of kicking off sexting, so to speak? What should you include or not include in a first text?
Yeah, so for me, one of the things I really like is giving your partner the chance to opt out if they don't feel like sexting in that particular moment.
Yeah, it's sort of just gauging consent. I guess you just got to like leave it open. So again, it comes into not just sending a dick pic or a tit pic straight out, because you're not really leaving any room for someone to go, well, actually, I wasn't really in the mood for that now. You know, you're not leaving any space. So what was the one you said earlier? You had a good suggestion.
Yeah, so a couple of my favorites, one of them is like, so I just got this cute new top, like, I'm really excited to show it to you. So your partner can either be like, well, you could show it to me now.
Wet with your nipples through it.
Yeah, or they might be like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see you tomorrow when we hang out.
Yeah, that sort of says it all. And it leaves a polite area of, actually, this isn't right. I'm not in the headspace right now, or I'm not in the right situation right now to be able to join in this sexting, rather than just like, no. You know, you can sort of be like, oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. That's a really good top tip, actually. I like that. Yeah. Whilst we're on the subject, if you're on the receiving end of a sext and you're not in the right sort of zone, like there are rules of like ways that you can say, well, actually not right now, hun, without, you know, making your partner feel rejected, because rejection does hurt, even if, you know, we've all got the right to reject. It's just making it parceled up nicely so that it doesn't hurt too much, I think. So that's a top tip, isn't it? So be gracious when you receive a text and think about how you'd like to be let down gently if it's not the right time. So another thing we get asked quite a lot is, so if you are going to go into sexting with pictures, particularly like erotic pictures, erotic videos, how can you make sure that those stay with the person that you want, you know, don't end up on the cloud or aren't sold on, you know, in the UK, I don't know if it's the same in Canada, there's now a law that's come in which basically bans revenge porn. My details on this are iffy. But basically, you know, if you were to send your partner a sexy picture of you, then you break up and he or she then uses that to, I don't know, sort of try and get revenge on you, maybe share them online or something. You know, that is now a punishable offence in the UK. Is that the same in Canada?
I am not as well versed in the
It'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah, for sure. And that's super awesome that those rules exist.
Yeah, because I think, you know, we know about it from like celebrities who've done, you know, sexy videos and things, and there was that patch in the late 90s, early 2000s when that was happening, you know, and people were like, oh, well, you shouldn't have done it. But that's not the right attitude to take. It's victim blaming. So yeah, it is about protecting the person. You should be free to send sexy pics of yourself. So we can do that by getting verbal agreement, obviously. Should hopefully be an easy way to do it. You know, this is just for you. I don't want this to go beyond you. And if your relationship should end or your sexual connection, you could sort of request that those pictures are deleted. But are there any other ways that if we're, you know, maybe we're not in a monogamous relationship and, you know, it's a little bit of just fun and flirty sexting with somebody new, can we still do pics and be safe? Is there a way to do that?
Yeah, there's actually a whole bunch of apps that will either use like a password protected system so that there's more safety there. There's one called Signal, which is super awesome, which means that they don't like mine your data. It's super duper encrypted.
So even they don't get your info. That's always good, because it's one thing trusting the person you're sending it to, but none of us now treat them like trust the man. Now, you know what I mean? Like we're all concerned about what Facebook's going to do with our information, or whoever it is that you decide to partake with online. So that's good to know that the company themselves are legit faps for that rather than apps. You know,
you gotta make it. I don't know if that's a thing.
Yeah, man.
Get on that.
It's gotta be, surely it's called an app fap. If you haven't, it's my idea now. Damn it, I've just told the internet. Someone else is gonna do it now. So yeah, so like I guess there's like levels of sexting. So like there's like newbie, like novice. You've got like sort of novice beginner, then you've got like, okay, I've had a go at this now, here's my intermediate level, and you've got like advanced.
I feel like people feel this pressure to like, I need to be an erotic author. Like I need to, like, where do I even start to text? And it's like, even if it's a little bit easier to text than it is to say in person, like we aren't given this language, and it can feel super scary.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, I'm somebody whenever I try and do it that you type something out in the moment, you're like, yeah, that was great. And then you reread it and you're like, oh, and then I don't know about you, I spend like 15 minutes then editing. But what if they don't know what I mean? And then it gets unsexy because you've like over edited it to death kind of thing.
And you've missed the moment time-wise
because
you're taking too long.
Exactly. So I think probably usually the first thing you come up with is probably the best. And in the moment. So yeah, we've got levels. So we've got like beginner level is probably just a text. Something a bit sexy.
Also, in terms of like what to actually say, you can talk about like one good one if you're just dipping your toe in the water. You can like talk about fantasies, more like hypothetical.
Yeah.
Like I had this really sexy dream. What do you think about that?
It's definitely a dream.
My friend said this. Yeah. You can also be like reminisce on times that you've had sex in person. Like oh, I was just thinking about what an awesome time that was. And again, they can opt out too. They can be like, oh, that was awesome. Or they can be like, I really liked when you did this.
Yeah.
And that can slowly build naturally like that.
Smart. And also you're not going to completely alien territory. You're referencing something you've done before. You're already on familiar ground. That's a really smart tip. I like that. Wouldn't it be cool if you could schedule sexts for yourself? Like
do it. Schedule sex for yourself.
Yeah, that would be so cool. Like, I've got that 2 p.m. slump after lunch. Bing. I look great. That'd be so good, right?
I love that so much.
Okay, cool. I think we've hit some really good points there. So basically, what have we learned? Sexting is great.
Yeah.
People who sext in relationships are generally more satisfied. So that's really cool. So if you're not doing it at the moment, you think you'd like to, it could do good things for your sexual relationship and your sex life. So that's really cool.
And you can start slow. You can do it just a little bit, and that can still have a really awesome benefit on your sex life.
Definitely. And top tips are start small, leave room to wiggle out of it in case the scenario is not right, but otherwise basically feel it. Kind of like go with how it feels and just think about protecting yourself and your partner. I guess those are the top tips.
Yeah, and communicate a bunch about what you like, preferences for sexting, and how you're feeling in the moment if things change.
Yes, definitely. And I think as well, going back to something you said earlier, how you can, in a sext, you can reference that last time you had sex or that time you had that great sex. When you're in person next time, you can reference those sexts. And then that starts to begin the communication face to face. And then, it answers that age-old question of, how can I spice up my sex life? Sext. Amazing. Cool. Well, I've learned a ton. And I'm now going to go and practice these new skills. I just need somebody to sext now. Eva, you're going to get a lot of texts from me.
I mean, artistic black and white shots.
Yeah. You're going to get all my good sides.
I love it. It's a personal museum.
Yes. Amazing. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been so much fun. If you've got any questions about sexting or about other ways to use digital media to enhance your sex life, please pop them in the comments below. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. It just tells us you like what we're doing.
And please do subscribe to the Lovehoney channel. You can do it by clicking the heart on the side of your screen.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We will see you next week. Bye.